it looks like there's been no accidents, and it looks like it's pretty low mileage for its year as well.
Good. Important to point out some selling points and some reasons that they should buy it. Even if the car had been in an accident, the most important thing to make sure that you express to this customer is that when we took the car in, we did a very thorough check to it. So, you're more than welcome to check it out yourself, but this vehicle's been through our service department and has been very rigorously inspected, so there's really no reason to think that even if it had been in an accident, that there would be any known issues with it still. Other thing to keep in mind and to pay attention to when it comes to accidents is check for airbag deployments and check for frame damage. Those are really the key items that can negatively affect a vehicle's overall condition quality over time. So if there's no airbag deployment and there's no frame damage, then be sure to point that out to the customer because it can just serve as reassurance.
I noticed the car's a rental, that which honestly kind of concerns me a little bit. I mean, I know that rentals tend to be, kind of beaten on, and so it kind of makes me a little bit concerned that, and I also don't know why this car was bought in California and then only registered for a little while in Florida, which is one of the reasons that I wanted to try and pay a little less for it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I can see where you would expect that. But I know a lot of rental companies, especially around here, when they do rent out a vehicle, they do expect it to be maintained. Otherwise, that person's going to end up paying for it. I really think that you should come in and take a look at the car and take it for a drive yourself just to see if it is a great fit for you.
Love that. You overcame the rental car thing, right back to, Jim, why don't you just come in for an appointment? Why don't you just come in? Like, what are we doing here? So you're like, so he or I am, we're trying to take you off track a little bit, and you're sort of getting me right back on to where I should be. Something else that you can mention about the rental car thing is, like, as soon as the rental car thing comes up, because it will, and it comes up all the time with used cars, almost like as soon as you hear about the rental car, you can sort of treat it like, I know, I hear you, Jim, I understand. A lot of people have that concern about rental cars, but here's what they've found for the most part. Rental car agencies are in the business of having happy customers that love the car they're driving, which means that they tend to take even better care of their vehicle than an individual consumer who's maybe leasing the car for 3 years. I mean, that person knows they're giving the car back in 3 years. The rental car agency knows that if they have a bunch of customers that are breaking down in their cars all over the place, then they're not going to have a bunch of customers for much longer, right? So rental car agencies actually tend to take better care of their vehicles. I understand why you feel the way you do. That has certainly been sort of the myth about rental cars for a long time, but we find that it's actually not the case whatsoever. If we buy a vehicle from a rental car agency, we usually have to do less work to it than if we were to buy a car from as a trade-in or just as an off-lease vehicle. And by the way, there's a ton of reasons that a vehicle could have been purchased for only 3 months and then traded back in. Somebody bought the vehicle and realized they didn't like the color, or they bought a vehicle and realized they were having another child, so a small Ford Focus isn't going to work anymore. There's tons of reasons, but very rarely do they have anything to do with the fact that the car is a lemon, so I got to trade it back in. And I mean, in that case, we wouldn't sell it to you. Like, we would have no reason to sell this car to you. We would send it to the auction and let somebody else fight over it, but we wouldn't have any reason to just sell you the car and hope that you didn't come back as an upset customer in a week. So no worries there. So just a couple other tools in your toolbox if you get those kinds of questions, those concerns about rental cars, and if a vehicle has like a checkered past, so to speak. Okay?